For nearly 2 decades, WhatsApp has identified us by our phone numbers. Now, that's changing. Now, Meta wants us to identify via usernames. It says it's about privacy. The Indian government, however, fears it could become a playground for impersonation and fraud. And from there, a debate has emanated. To that effect, the government has served Meta a notice. Meta insists that's the shift from phone numbers to usernames, is a long overdue privacy upgrade that is best to protect users' digital identities. So, who's right? Broadly, why are our digital identities supplied by big tech? And why do governments always step in after technology has already changed how we live? Join me in my conversation with Apar Gupta, a tech lawyer and co-founder of Internet Freedom Foundation. It's Friday, the 3rd of July. I'm Anirban Chaudhary. This is the Morning Brief. Hi Apar, very warm welcome to the Morning Brief.
Thank you for having me here.
So we are talking today about WhatsApp and the whole story around shifting from numbers to username and what it really means. So let's look at it from the prism of the users before we come to sort of the regulatory aspects of it and what's going wrong and privacy, etc. So why usernames?
It's estimated that about 500 million users of WhatsApp exist in India. It's a way of life of how we communicate with friends, family, conduct ourselves. So it's like a centralized application which is indispensable for most smartphone users, if not all smartphone users in India. So what ends up happening is that you sign up for WhatsApp through your mobile number, and quite often, if you're wanting somebody to add you as a WhatsApp contact, you have to share your mobile number. According to WhatsApp, this presents a risk because your phone number, your mobile number is also then available with every other service provider, like your bank, right? You get your OTPs on your mobile number. So instead of that, sharing of your mobile number for somebody to add you onto WhatsApp, WhatsApp is saying you can now reserve alphanumeric or just your name as a handle or a username, and then you can just share it. Like my name is Apar Gupta. If I reserve Apar Gupta on WhatsApp, then to any other person who's a WhatsApp user, they can just add me as Apar Gupta. And WhatsApp is also saying that to prevent any other person from adding you without your consent, you can also set up a authentication code, which will be then inputted by the other user in addition to Apar Gupta, which will be like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 4, and then they can start messaging you. So according to WhatsApp, again, this is a privacy feature, but according to me, this is a monetization tactic. It will later roll out subscriptions for this, verify you, and even when you're signing up for the reservation right now, since it's not rolled out, it's asking you to link your Instagram and Threads accounts and use that same name. It's prompting you to do that. So it's also a data bundling exercise in which then they can also build services on top of that, gain more revenue.
Has it worked anywhere else apart from India?
So this is a global rollout. So I don't think so it's launched, but some other messaging services, internet-based messaging services like Signal and Telegram do have it. But Signal's a different beast. It has a lot of privacy-preserving features within the platform. It doesn't gather your metadata, for instance. So it does work for a specific kind of audience. But then again, the impersonation risk, the squatting risk, all of those are unique to WhatsApp given its scale and very deep integration with business and social activity in India.
Right, that seems to be the government's contention as well. And I mean, I've read Meta's statement, but what can it realistically do to prevent such impersonations?
So what it's trying to do right now is what it's saying is that, hey, we will pre-reserve some names which are for well-known personalities, public figures. So let's say Apar Gupta can't reserve Shah Rukh Khan. Okay. But what happens to Apar Gupta, who's a little less well known, if not a completely private person, like let's say Ramesh Gupta, and there's so many Ramesh Guptas as well. But on the contrary side, a lot of people are saying, how is this different from reserving a handle or a username on an email, right? Now, what is different in an email and WhatsApp is that in an email address, you don't always have an instantly identifiable display picture, status, things which are in addition to that handle name, which can lead to this kind of susceptibility, especially given that digital literacy or critical thinking quite often may not be present with people. It can lead to impersonation, it can lead to scams, it can also lead to impersonation of institutions, service providers, government
Absolutely.
departments, things like that.
Absolutely. I mean, there could be a fake username like RBI Ombudsman, for instance.
Yeah, certainly. And see, there's a vacuum in the law, which is why all of this can potentially not be brought under a level of regulatory oversight right now, according to me. And that's the problem we need to focus at.
What happens to end-to-end encryption? Does that remain?
According to me, this doesn't tinker with end-to-end encryption. So end-to-end encryption is attaching only to the messages which you are sending to another person. End-to-end encryption basically means that what you're putting as a letter in an envelope is not opened by Meta or WhatsApp. It's not open to their servers. They can only read the metadata around it. So basically, the government can't read it. WhatsApp can read it, but there's a lot of surrounding information in that envelope. Who sends it? How many times do they send it? What time do they send it? To who all do they send it? It also applies very differently when you are part of groups because the group membership will be there, who's most active will be there just in terms of messaging activity, the name of the group, the display picture, all of those things. And sometimes groups are named in a very descriptive way, like a college alumni group or a RWA group. So it doesn't tinker with end-to-end encryption, but quite what we have seen over a period of time has been that due to the metadata which is available on WhatsApp and the 2021 privacy policy, now that metadata is being bundled with other points of information Meta platforms have with you and are also sharing and gathering for third-party providers. So they have a very complete map in terms of what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, if not a minute-by-minute basis.
Some context before we move on. India's IT rules largely govern what platforms must do after something goes wrong with forged or impersonated digital identities. They also contain the somewhat controversial first originator provision, which says messaging platforms should be able to identify who first sent a message in serious fraud investigations. WhatsApp argues that while this traceability is possible, it would undermine end-to-end encryption, which is actually the core of its offering around data protection. Then there's the Digital Personal Data Protection Act. It recognizes personal data and privacy rights, but many provisions are still being operationalized. The result is a sort of an interim framework that is reactive and interventionist rather than preventive. That's where the username debate has landed. I asked Apar a simple question. What legal recourse do I have if I, for example, am scammed by a fake username or fraudulently impersonated?
Let's just start with somebody else claiming your name, for instance. Your name is a personal identifier. It qualifies as personal data under the Digital Data Protection Act, which has been passed by Parliament, but is still not in effect till next year.
Right.
That's number one lacuna. Secondly, you have a right to claim your identity and against impersonation, which is a privacy right guaranteed under the Data Protection Act. Thirdly, there's no regulatory body under the Data Protection Act. So you don't have a data protection authority, you have a data protection board. So you cannot complain that somebody's used your display picture, the same example I'm running with from the beginning. So Apar can't say, yeah, somebody took my LinkedIn display picture, which was showing on a Google research, took my name, Apar Gupta, data and then used it to impersonate me, because everything is not a financial crime. Sometimes it is just impersonation, may spoil somebody's reputation, may lead to friction, may lead to messages under your name you don't want it to go. So it may not be sophisticated to that extent, right? It may not be a celebrity, it may not be institution. Now, with respect to institutions, public service providers, things like that, I think if WhatsApp is launching this service, and if we had something like a Digital Markets Act, which could look at how very large platforms operate, their product features lead to systemic harms, then directions could have been issued by an independent regulator rather than using it what the government has used, which is the IT Act and the IT rules, which seems to be an answer to each and everything which is happening these days, right?
Got it, got it. Let's come to the larger question of digital identity, which is what the impersonation and everything actually leads to. For nearly 3 decades, and this is just my understanding of it, we have seen that digital identities have been supplied to us by these big tech companies, and the governments have largely reacted to it. It's either been reactive or interventionist. Where do you think is the problem? Where is India and also the rest of the world? Where are we lagging behind in the regulation of digital identity again and again?
So several countries actually are not lagging behind. They have a clear vision that the digital sphere quite often has evaded any kind of scrutiny, regulation by harping on the doctrine of innovation, that basically society advances if you don't regulate us, if you don't make a law for us. Okay. And this is incorrect according to me. According to me, digital services are fundamentally altering as well as supporting what are social functions, economic functions. They determine it on an individual basis in terms of groups, societies, and the larger social fabric we have. So there is no credible argument which can be made that there shouldn't be, let's say, an oversight system for very large platforms, which is what Europe has done, right? And this is why they were able to, for instance, levy a fine on Grok AI, turning out non-consensual, intimate images of women and young children who were being undressed, like the nudifies, which were happening a little earlier in the year. However, India does not have those laws because for a long period of time, there has been a neoliberal consensus that regulation is bad. In fact, the Ministry of Electronics and IT, even in the data protection law, did not create a regulator. And at that point in time, public officials went on record with saying that we don't want any regulation. And even today, there is a statement that we do not want any regulation of artificial intelligence at all. Now, economic growth, innovation can all happen alongside regulation at the same point in time. Those two are not fundamentally opposed to each other. It just needs to be done in a way in which we need to weigh what are the costs, what are the compliances, and whether they do actually prevent an entrepreneur digital service from being built, or is it something which is being marketed from the perspective that this hurts an SME, this hurts a small innovator working in a garage, tinkering a garage, while actually the regulation is aimed at a very large platform, at these big tech platforms which today control almost everything in terms of our daily existence.
So, what kind of regulation would have prevented what's happening now?
So one of the first, I think the first news story which broke on WhatsApp offering and rolling out usernames came months before, right? Mm-hmm. And it's just not this product feature in this company. What we needed over a period of time was to look beyond the Information Technology Act, the Safe Harbor Provision, Section 79, and the yearly and sometimes quarterly updates which are being made to the IT rules, which is essentially only a takedown mechanism. It's the censorship mechanism to be converted into a governance mechanism rather than that to build through legislative frameworks and independent regulator and staff it with the right kind of capacity. Anirban, and simply what this means is that we needed full-time people looking at how tech products and services with very large platforms are being announced, rolled out, what impacts do they have, do it scientifically over a period of time. And this has not been happening, which is why you see notices like this, which have gone to WhatsApp, which hinge on essentially the IT rules, which also say that traceability, which will break end-to-end encryption, one of the few clear technical privacy protections, also needs to be complied by WhatsApp. And if it's done, then it goes against our privacy. So the government also is not really standing up for our rights.
Right. Okay. Also, from what you've said, for WhatsApp and big tech companies, it's always about making money. It's always about monetization. The security aspect is just an offshoot. So then, overall, what part of the blame lies with big tech companies? Because this has been the whole problem with digital identity, etc. It's not new. It's been happening over and over again, and well, I mean, every new move, then there seems to be no change. There are still confusions, problems, breach of overall security framework. So, what part of the blame lies with big tech companies, and what should they sort of rework?
The blame definitely lies with the big tech companies. The big tech companies are profit making entities and quite often say that, well, we are providing you so much value for such little what we ask for, and it improves your life in dramatic ways. But I think so. The primary responsibility in this then rests on the government which we elect, right? It has the legal authority and power under the constitution to come up with legislation, set up independent regulators, staff it properly, give it the kind of resources it needs to properly think about policy, frame regulation, act on it. And I think this is what's been absent in India for a long period of time. We are being reactive. So if you look at cybersecurity, for instance, cybersecurity is questionable even within the government itself and its deployment. The CBSE OSM platform leaks comes to our mind where a private contractor basically failed to secure the platform itself, which was then deployed by a government department in the Ministry of Education.
Right.
So the government is not being able to do it for itself. It's not being able to do it for private companies. And there is a genuine enforcement gap, but there's also, I think so, just a lack of foresight, a lack of seriousness, and it's all being concentrated in one government ministry. It actually, digitization today is a flatter revolution which is happening in our society. So it requires a whole of government approach, and we do need to forsake, and I'll re-emphasize it, this disdain for legality, this disdain to make up and create new regulatory bodies, because these are the challenges of today, not of the future.
Got it. Got it. Appa, thank you so much for joining us.
You're most welcome, Anirban.
Digital identity is becoming the passport to modern life, but the rules governing it are still being written. The decisions made today could shape how billions of us communicate, transact, and trust each other online for years to come. We will leave you with this thought. This episode was produced by me, sound designed by Radhas Naik. Keep listening to The Morning Brief and our other shows, including Corner Office Conversation, wherever you get your podcast. Stay tuned.